Welcome. So it's good to see you guys. So
Oh,
when Brian first asked me to do this, are you okay?
yeah. No,
Oh,
I was
okay.
trying to send him a link to it.
Oh, okay. I can wait for a second. No problem.
No, you're good.
Okay. So when Brian first asked me to do this, I told him that I'm not like real technologically, savvy, and presenting isn't really my thing. But he really said that we didn't have any art people that signed up to do this. So I said, well, what I'm usually asked about, what people want to know about what I do is my integration more than anything. So I thought, that would be one thing I can share from it. I can share it from a teacher in a classroom, an academic teacher standpoint, but I can also share that now because I'm an art teacher. So a little bit about me. Hi, Tim. It's a small group, but welcome. Um, hi. Okay, so I'm really nervous. But a little bit background on me. I have my bachelor's degree. My first 4 years was in studio art at Columbus College of Art and Design. Then 3 kids later, fast forward 30 years, I went to Bethel with Tim, with Tim Myers, and progressed to get my MAT in teaching. So taught fourth grade for 9 years, loved it, but then put together my two loves, two parts of me, which is my art and my teaching. So when I got into the classroom, into my art room, it was a matter of combining these two things. It's not like I left one for the other. So hi Jacob. Hi, glad you made it. Um, so what I do, and here's the thing, I'm not super technologically advanced in any of this. What I told Brian that I do is I use the Seesaw platform with self-created videos to do a few things, to free up time in my classroom, mostly because I like to do the integrated part. In fact, I think it's essential to do the integrated part. But when you're talking about such a small period of time, especially this year with, the half amount of time that we actually have in class to create art, it was a matter of trying to come up with, what's going to get dropped, what's going to get left off. So what I did was I switched a lot of the integrated type parts onto the e-learning platform. Um, am I still sharing this screen? Oh, I'm going to stop sharing here. Okay, that's better. All right. So, my philosophy with art, and I think it's true of a lot of art teachers are in this forum here. It's art. It can't be separated from the academic world. To me, it's an expression and a reflection of the artist at the time, the world that they were living in at the time. So you can't. It's so easy to integrate one with the other. When I was in my regular classroom, I was bringing art into academics, but the academic stays the focus. Now I'm bringing the academics into the art, but the art stays the focus. So I don't assess any of the academics that I bring in. Particularly, I assess the art skills and the focus is there. Um, I feel really out of sorts right now, you guys. I'm really sorry. So Tim knows that speaking in front of people, it's just not my thing. But here we go. I'm going to show you. I'm just going to start by showing you some of the things that I've done in my classroom. Okay, so I need to go back. I need to share the entire screen. Now these are going to be some photographs. I think. There we go. So this is a sixth grade project, terracotta warriors, and that links directly to what sixth grade classes are doing. And somebody asked me, it's so funny because the teachers come to my room and they're like, oh my gosh, I can't believe you're doing this. We're doing this in class. And so people ask me, do you actually collaborate with the academic teachers? And honestly, I'm just going to be real honest here. They don't have time. The last thing they want to do is sit down with one more person and hash things out. So what I do is I have a book of standards that has kindergarten through sixth grade. It has math, science, social studies. I kind of leave the ELA out. That's kind of a natural thing when you're doing vocabulary and things like that. That kind of comes in naturally, but the the other standards, I use that in my planning. I go directly to the academic standards when I'm deciding what it is my kids are going to be learning about. So that was Terracotta Warriors that they study about. This one here was actually done in my fourth grade classroom.
Hey, Carol, we can't actually see your screen.
Oh.
Just so you know.
Okay. See, and this is what, let me go back. It should be.
You just didn't present to us again.
Okay, here. I'm sorry. Let's try this. Let's try this. I think I did.
There we go. Now you're good.
So there's the Terracotta Warrior one. Okay, so
Oh,
that's
nice.
but that's a printmaking project that we worked on, but it directly related to something they were reading and actually working on. Sometimes it's not something they're actually working on. This one was done in my fourth grade classroom. And this was based on, you know, the Native Americans, but it also went into math. We were talking about symmetry. And then when you talk about the art side of it, that's collage. It's also composition and design. And then, of course, there's, you know, the basic skills of cutting, gluing, craftsmanship, all of that kind of stuff. I couldn't find a lot of those that were done in my fourth grade class because my phone flew out my car, and that's where most of those photographs were. So this is a Modigliani. This is a fifth grade project. This one, it goes into the form, three-dimensional and two-dimensional, working on shadows and highlights and those kinds of things that fifth graders will be studying in their science. That's just another one of those in process, but it's just using those highlights and shadows. This is a Greek vase sixth grade project. This is a Sgraffito project, and this is also directly related to their ancient cultures. We talk a lot about, this is the one video I might show you a piece of today if you're interested. But this is, you know, talking about artifacts and ancient cultures integrated there. This is a Fibonacci. This is another sixth grade. Now this one is directly related to math. You can get into a real aesthetics conversation here, you know, about what is considered beauty because of, you know, the golden ratio. But what we do here is we start this project with coordinate pairs to create this perfect spiral. But then as you can see, it's my rendition of a color wheel with tints and shades. So that was a fun one. They like that one. This is a second grade project. It's based on the compass rose, and but you know, you can see complementary colors, line work, all of those kinds of things. So it's really bringing in two different worlds, and it's so easy to do because everything is connected. Fourth grade, this is a dragon kite. Now, Chinese dragon kite. They talk about lift, drag, and thrust in fourth grade in their science, and we talk about that here because we actually try to fly these, which is pretty hilarious. So it's kind of fun. This is a first grade Chihuly project. In this project, we talk about the 3 states of matter because we talk about, and I show them videos too, about glass and you know, how it melts, and when it cools, it becomes, you know, a solid, and we can really get in deep with that. This was directly related. Oop, uh-oh, what'd I do? This, oh, uh-oh. I'm going back. I did it. Okay, so this one is directly related to a fourth grade project that we did. You can see the crayfish in the back. They used to have a science kit that was, they actually had live crayfish. So we actually got to do live drawing looking a lot at proportion and, just being able to, but while we're doing that, we're also talking about the vocabulary of their body parts, abdomen, carapace, all of those things. And then we created an abstract Calder mobile based on these shapes. So very abstract, but that's what we did. This was actually a student's work. So this was my drawing, but this was her work, which was quite stunning, actually. And then this is a second grade Aboriginal dot printmaking that we did. And at the time, it's funny because I picked projects and then the teachers are like, oh my gosh, we're doing that in class. And so it's really easy to talk about the body parts that they're talking about, abdomen, thorax, head, and forewing, rear wing, all of that kind of stuff. And so they get that double vocabulary, which sensory, motor, cognitive skills, they all grow and develop when you're making these connections, between different areas of their brain. This is a first grade Arctic fox. It's all about blending colors and shapes to make, basic shapes to make compound shapes. But we also talk a lot about, first of all, the aurora borealis. And so we're doing this project right now in class, actually. And it's amazing. They can use and they can remember these words along with camouflaging and predator and prey. They were studying that in class already. I could tell because they knew why the fox needed to camouflage. Here's just some more of those. And I think that's all I have on that. So hopefully I'm going to stop sharing now. So hopefully that gives you a taste of the way I go about things. And honestly, I feel like there's two different, very valid approaches to art. One is more, I consider more of an art therapy, kind of a free expression kind of art approach to teaching art. And then there's the DBAE, which is the discipline-based art education. And that has 4 prongs. It's the aesthetics, what is art? What is beauty? Does art have to be beautiful? The criticism, which in elementary art, I feel like, and the standards kind of pretty much put that out there, our goal is to really give them that basic foundation of the principles and elements of art. And in order to have an opinion, it's a really good foundation to actually know the formal aspects of art, where they can talk about line, they can talk about the color, they can talk about the composition before coming up with any kind of opinion about it. It's like, standing in the art museum with my dad, looking at a color field painter, Mark Rothko, this gigantic, beautiful, amazing painting. And my dad announces that a kindergartner could do it. And it was like, okay, we need to have a little lesson on Mark Rothko. And, and it was hilarious. And we laughed about it for years to come. But that's the point of criticism and critique. They need to know what they're talking about. They need this vocabulary. And if we don't give it to them, just naturally within the lesson, without using the whole class period to do this type of integration, then, they're not getting the whole experience of learning in art. So there's the aesthetics, the criticism, and then the history. History's so easy to integrate. Art is history. When I started at Bethel, I was irritated. I had 4 years of art history, and before they would let me in the program, I had to take a history class, like from Ivy Tech, because my 4 years of art history didn't count. And I wanted to argue it. But, there's no way you're going to argue that. But it is. Art history is history. So it's totally connected there. And then, of course, the 4th prong is art production, which we want to focus on in our art classrooms. But in a academic classroom, it might be more of a culminating activity. And I think the hardest part in a classroom, it was easy for me because I had the background. But I could imagine if you don't have the background, you wouldn't automatically understand where those connections are. So I guess I would highly, recommend if you're, an academic teacher to seek out your art teacher, because I don't know about the other art teachers in this forum, but nobody ever seeks me out to say, hey, I'm doing this project. Is there something that would go with it? When I was in fourth grade, we did the Franklin Basil Frankweiler, whatever that book is. Tim, do you know what that book is? The Mixed Up Files of Franklin. It's about two kids that run away and live in a museum for a while. Well, the culminating activity for us was, I brought in, Michelangelo, because he was talked about in that book. Not, it was a part of it, but it wasn't the focus of the book. But I brought in that, and then brought in ivory soap. So they understood about, Michelangelo and sculptures and carving. And I brought in ivory soap, one for everybody, gave them a popsicle stick and a paper clip. And they learned very quickly how difficult it was to do reductive sculpture, taking away to get it. And I told them in the beginning, I said, no, this is harder than you think it's going to be. You're going to work really hard on your designs, but you're going home. A lot of you are going to go home with what we will call a snowball, because you take all the pieces and you clump it together and you still have a snowball soup. So, just bringing those kinds of things in, Oregon Trail. I taught them about space in your drawing with the Oregon Trail drawing. They drew the packing day. They would draw a packing day. So they would draw a farm field, maybe a Conestoga wagon, but then they had to have that overlap line, which was like the horizon line far away. And as things went back, I taught them they had to get littler. The cow up front is going to be bigger than the cow in the background. So just those kinds of things that overlap into the regular classroom. Okay, so you might be asking yourself, what does this have to do with tech at all? And I appreciate you not clicking out of the session. Does anybody have any questions? Does anybody want to say anything? No? Okay, I'll just keep going. I know that's how I felt this morning when the lady was saying, oh, chime in, and we're all just going, no, that's okay. Okay, so what does this have to do with tech in my classroom? Here's what I do this year to free up time in my classroom. It addresses absent students, and it can reteach or introduce if needed. Last year, I give a study guide. And I'm at home, I'm in quarantine. Yeah. So I don't have an example of the study guide to show you, but it's just a half sheet of paper with all of the vocabulary words on it that I want them to know. I used to have them take notes in class. As we talked, I'd give them a couple seconds, but that just takes up too much time this year. So what I do this year is it is now an e-learning day where they fill that out. Now, the motivation to actually do it, because I know that's hard for some teachers to get kids to want to do it, I don't call it a study guide anymore. I call it a cheat sheet. And they can use it on the test. And I do give them a quiz or a test, call it what you will, but it's a simple drag and drop. They don't need to know that it's just a small percentage of their grade, but it's about using these words over and over again in written form, in an activity that you're doing. And what I am finding is they're starting to buy in now. And I will do this from now on. I will assign this at home for them to fill out at home, because there's a student the other day, I was talking about the proportions of the face, and she actually came up with half for the eye line. And I was like, well, how'd you know that? She goes, I watched your video and I was so shocked. It was like, oh my gosh, they're watching and they're learning, and it's freeing up time, and they're all starting to buy in, because if they know the answers before they get to class, we can briefly go over them, that they feel successful because they know the answers. They've already learned it online. And then, the test is at the end. Now, I give them a specific day that the test will become available, the video of me explaining all these vocab words, and I'll show you a little piece of that in a minute. But the video comes down the minute the test goes up. So they have to fill that out. I send the video out as an announcement, because I do not want all those little red dots telling me, did it, did it, did it, did it. You know, I just don't want that. And sometimes students will take a picture of their finished study guide and send it to me, which is fine. But I don't require them to do it. I tell them it is up to them. It will benefit you if you do it. If not, you don't have it to use. And more of them are starting to use it because I'm like, I'm basically giving you the answers to the test. So that encourages them to do it. Now, if they don't take the test before they get to class, I always assign it the week before the last week of that project. They have to finish it in class before they can start finishing their project that week. So that takes not a lot of time, but you know, it takes them a little bit of time to do that. All right, I'm going to go to just a piece of the video, just so you get an idea of my mini lesson chart and what the video looks like. So let me actually present, because I almost forgot to do that. Oh my gosh, I'm getting good at this. Here we go. I did it. Oh my God, I know. Please laugh at me because this is embarrassing. Okay, so wait, where'd it go? Wait a minute. There it is. Okay, so this is just partway through. I do an introduction in the beginning. In the background here, you can see the actual mini lesson chart that stays up. When the kids come in and I start questioning them, it's what a lot of times what we'll do. Wait, what happened? A lot of times, and it started back over. So let me go back to where we wanted it. A lot of times what happens is I will say the definition and I will ask them to choral say the vocabulary word that goes with it. So another opportunity for them to participate with these words. Okay, so here we go. Can you guys hear that? I don't know how to make it louder. When they dig down into the ground and they find something, is that better? Made by humans, and it was made by skill for a purpose, it's called an artifact. That's how we even know about ancient cultures. Those artifacts tell us a story. So Arta, the root word here means by skill, and fact means factum, which means to make. Okay, so that's how we come up with artifact made by humans for a purpose. Those are those Latin roots that you studied. I know because we studied them in fourth grade when I was a fourth grade teacher. So I know you understand roots and basics. So that's how words are put together. Now I also mentioned. Okay, so I'm going to stop sharing. Well, I think I'm going to stop sharing. Here we go. Okay, so that just gives you a little idea of how I present it. I'm not going to bore you with the whole thing, but when they go to fill out their study guide, you know, it's just, they can stop and start that video. Like in class, a lot of times I'll be like, you know, they'll be raising their hands and it just takes even more time. So that's what I do. It just frees up time in class. It's that simple. Tim?
So if I understand correctly, what you're saying is the study guide in your video is not required, but it's advantageous for them to do it because it's a cheat sheet, like the answers for the test that you give every 2 weeks or at the end of every project.
That's right.
So that's the incentive for them to watch your video versus you have to watch it and answer these questions.
Yes, because honestly, I think a lot of teachers are running into that problem. Are you running into that problem in your classroom? Yeah. And it's all about choice, right? And honestly, for me, it's a little different because that part of it is a small portion of their grade. So I would rather give them choice there than give it in, well, you don't have to do the project if you don't want. No, you know, it's stand up and try. You got this, you know. I think I don't really run into that anymore where they don't want to do the project. I don't know if you guys have the problem in your classrooms, but I did at first. First couple of years, I would have kids, I can't do this. Man, I don't want to. I'm not good at this, but I don't get that anymore, which feels good. Is there any other questions? I don't even know how long we're supposed to go. Are we done? Are we supposed to just keep going? Oh my God.
I
think
can
we-
check the times for you. Do you want me to?
Okay. Did I already talk about, I did. I talked about collaborating with teachers. I think I talked about, it's an announcement. I think I've talked about everything I want to talk about. You guys got anything you want to talk about?
It does end at 2, so you're right on time.
Oh,
So
okay.
good job.
Thank you guys. You guys are awesome. Yeah, you don't have to. I should tell you that we're still recording, so never mind. Brian made me do this, so he can hear that.
You did great.
Thank you. I appreciate
Carol.
it. I hope it was helpful. And I guess one of the things I wanted to say to academic teachers, well, anybody, but my crew knows this. Most of you on here are actually art teachers and with Elkhart. But if you're an academic teacher, I kind of wanted to throw this out there. You ever need input and you just want to shoot me an email, or, you know, even your art teachers in your building or whatever, shoot me an email. I'm more than happy to say, oh yeah, I've got something that might work. I mean, why not? So I'm here for you. All right, everybody, you take care. And I think, you know, unless there's any more questions, I guess we can go, right?
I think so. Sounds good. Thank you.
All right, bye everybody.
See ya.
Stay well.